hopefully not everybody stayed up too late and we're all focused and know what's going on. Start with approval of minutes. I hear a motion to approve. Do I have a signature page for those? Do I hear a motion to approve?
October 16, 2024 minutes.
That is correct.
Motion.
Got a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
In the matter of claims, we're holding off on out-of-cycle claims due to Sheila's absence. I know there's been a few that's been ran through. I've spoke to her about, but other than that, today we have total claims with payroll and total claims of $533,500.85 for a total, total of payroll is $308,612.22. Claims $224,888.63. Again, for a total of $533,500.85.
There's two payrolls in there.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, since that's not on this sheet, let's approve that, and then we'll come back and do this second payroll. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the names subject to State Board of Accounts requirements.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Bob, seconded by Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to have these sheets signed for the adjustment on the claims, Beth,
Okay.
instead of the ones that have the arrows. I started to sign my hand up there, Bob, sorry. And then we have a second payroll back from October the 18th for $297,572.24. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
There's all the minutes. Okay, we don't have a financial report. There is no old business. New business, we have the Toshiba agreement that is up for certain machines. This is a 5-year agreement. Now we get new machines replaced. Old ones taken out, new ones put in. They are a Sourcewell state contract. And if you guys want to come on up.
Sure. Be happy to summarize the current standing a little bit for you. So, yes, Gary, Toshiba Business Solutions Incorporated is the state of Indiana QPA holder, well, contract holder. In fact, our contract was just recently extended all the way through 2027, so we're excited about that. All of your service is provided locally. All our team members come to you locally to take care of your
Can you
different
turn that
departments.
microphone on down there, please?
Just
How do I do that?
Just push the
Just push
button,
the
that
button.
big
This
bar.
one?
Yeah, turn right, there you go.
Very good. Normally my loud boisterous voice carries it. Thank you for that. As Gary mentioned, in summary, we're refreshing. When I say refresh, it's putting in a new unit, refreshing the lease on 8 different departments. Those are, each one of those departments is going to gain additional benefit from this refresh with the new unit. All of them will be the latest Toshiba model. Several of the departments will be gaining either a larger paper capacity or the ability to do dual scanning, which they didn't have before. All the departments will have that same type of capability, so they'll scan it, 273 images a minute, both sides at the same time. Should improve workflow for the users in the different departments. We've managed to keep your cost per impression rates underneath the contract the same as they were before. So even with changes in economy and inflation and everything, the contract hold, we were able to do that. So that's beneficial for the county. We only do bill per impression, so you're not being billed for copies or impressions that you don't use. You're only billed for what you actually run. Those impressions or that service rate includes all the toner, service, supplies, parts, maintenance, travel, everything that you put in the machine except paper and staples. And again, if they had a color unit in before, it's a color unit now. Nobody's reduced in speed. If it was monochrome before, or a black and white only printer, it's monochrome now. They can all scan in color and do all that. So basically, in summary, nobody's losing any functionality. They're either staying where they were before or increasing their functionality based upon the contract award. And then each department is listed on your paperwork there as far as where they're going. But again, we only address the ones that were due up at this time. Any questions?
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to speak.
We have also, with Sheila, worked this budget out to where all this is paid under one claim instead of separate departments as it had been in the past. That was something that Sheila and I totally agree on, and I see Beth shaking her head. I know she's agreeing as well. So it's one payment for all departments, which makes a lot more sense. So again, this is a Sourcewell contract. Dana, you have taken a look at it.
Yes, I've looked at it, and of course, it's been vetted by the state too, so I have no concerns with it. And just to get the number out there to make sure everybody knows, the current cost is $849.85, and the proposed cost would be $859.65. So it's very, very similar. And again, the impressions per page have not changed. For monochrome, it's 0.004 cents, and for color, it's 0.04 cents. And all in the contract was listed all the different makes and models, or all the different models we're using.
Before we had Toshiba, we had about 23 different machines and like 43 different contracts. It was an absolute mess. And by going to this program, we were able to save the county about $150,000 over a 5-year period. And that's what we're here to do. That's our job. And now we're going to get all new machines again, starting all over fresh. And you can't beat a better lease than that. So with that being said, do I hear a motion to approve?
I got one question.
Sure.
for you. I think I was talking to you, the extension office has got two. Would somebody like to clear that up with me?
That would have to be Jim. If you guys can explain that. I'm not really sure why they have two over there as well.
Yeah, there are additional machines, thank you, sir, there are additional machines under contract with the county with Toshiba that are not up yet. So this addresses only the 8 units that are currently at end of term. Circuit Court 1, County Clerk, and I'll get to your question in just a second. Circuit Court 1, County Clerk, and Circuit Court, or County Prosecutor and Circuit Court 2. Highway Department, I'm missing a couple machines there, you can chime in for me, but. County Assessor, EMS Building. So there's 8 total units, but are you referring to the Extension Office?
Yeah, which they're not up yet at this time.
Yeah, so,
They're not part of this morning.
is,
Extension office probation, is the extension office probation count as one, or?
No, they'd be separate.
no, the Extension Office is their own.
Some of these machines were brought in after this agreement, so there's going to be others coming up down the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Gary,
Yeah.
could you see, you remember the problems we had with that small copier in my office? Could you see if that's part of this to be replaced or not?
It should be
I think
So,
it
EMS.
states EMS on here.
well,
That's what we've got a large one,
right,
excuse me. We've got a large one, but also in the last process, we missed the desktop style that I had.
Right.
And dispatch had.
The printer, not a copier, yeah.
We ended up getting non-Toshiba, and we've had problems with them anytime I try to get toner or anything.
Right.
They have no record of it, so.
yeah, so I'll address that, sir, thank you. So this is only addressing the main units inside of the department, i.e. your larger copy machine. If those printers are printers that we are currently servicing, in other words, your desktops, and those have been missed for some type of reason, whether they're not tagged properly or whatever, have you, Gary and I can work with you to resolve that. Typically, what happens with your desktop printers, it is a separate program. So you've got your main Toshiba copiers in the different departments. We also take care of a lot of the desktop printers for the county offices. The ones that report through the network, in other words, they're reporting, like if I use that machine there as an example, if that's plugged into your network and is reporting the meters and everything to us, then it's automatically ordering toner. However, you have some printers that are like plugged in locally to the back of somebody's computer, in other words, through a USB connection. Those machines, even though we are providing toner for them and service for them, do not automatically order toner because there's no way for it to do it. It's not on the network.
They're not
So-
tied to an IP address.
Right, for those, the department actually has to physically call in when it needs service or toner. And that, so that's the two types of desktop units that you have. If yours are on the unit, on the network and tagged, we should be able to get them visible. If not, that could be part of the issue. If they're plugged into the back of your computer and they're not reporting, then that's where you gotta call in. And I understand you have, and we'll check on yours and see where the hiccup is. But that does cause some confusion around the desktop printers.
If these are the main printers is what we're
Yeah,
talking about here,
your
the big ones,
copy
yeah.
is the one that's being replaced,
Yeah.
Well, doesn't, then my question is, if we don't include them in this, they become a dozen more that aren't covered.
No, there's other contracts yet to come. These were first, and then there's other ones that will be here. I don't know when those come up, 6
Yeah,
months,
so
3 months.
It's important to separate the two, right? So part of the savings that Gary illustrated, you also, if I may, I'll divide it into two types of printing. You've got your floor standing main unit, and then you've got your desktop units like your HP back there. So several years ago, when Toshiba entered into an analysis with the county, if I can address the floor standing first. So those are the 8 units we're talking about now. Those are all leased units. They get replaced on a cycle. You know, the 8 units are at the time to do that. On the desktop units, those are all assets that you either had already in place or you added into the contract afterwards, but they were county-owned assets. They're not leases. You own them. What we did on the desktop printers, we put them under a program that included service and supplies for the ones that we could. And you might still have an inkjet printer out there that's owned in a department that we don't provide ink for, right? But by us putting those under contract, we were able to eliminate the necessity of a department going out and just ordering from Staples or CDW or what have you. So that streamlined that and allowed you to do it at a less expensive price, quite frankly, which again was illustrated in the savings Gary mentioned. But those are county-owned assets. So
Some of the departments, Joel, had brand-new machines that
Yeah.
it made no sense to pull those machines.
Sure.
They had
Yeah.
just bought them. So they applied a maintenance agreement to the machine that we already owned.
yeah, and at any time, if that machine dies or we can't repair it, we would address that issue offline, or not online, but not offline, but at that time.
So it will
and make a
encompass those
decision to move
Exactly.
forward on that.
Eventually it will,
Yeah.
yes.
It's two different programs, but basically, Toshiba doesn't care where you print, we just want you printing to the best device for the county. And where it really comes into play, to kind of put first full circle on that, you know, you want people to be able to print, you want them to be able to function, but obviously, like, even using this example right here, if you print to that HP desktop right there, it costs the county more to print to that than it does the floor standing unit in your office. So that's where it really comes into play. You just want people being intelligent about where they're printing the job. Does that answer your question in a very long-winded manner? Thank you, sir.
And of course, the auditor's office probably gets used more than any printer
Yes,
in the
without question.
county. So, that machine being replaced is gonna be a big plus. With all that being said, do I hear a motion to approve and extend the Toshiba contract, as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Bob, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
This requires one signature, do I hear a motion for that approval?
Yeah, make motion of Gary for the approval sign.
Got a motion by Bob, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm gonna set these off to the
Thank you.
side.
Gary, there's some others to sign, you can sign afterwards.
Okay. Whenever we get done, you and I'll get together, and make sure we've got matching copies,
Okay.
okay? Highway Department. Morning, gentlemen.
Commissioners, I've got some other things, but I'll start off with yearly bids. Maybe not to be read yet, but one of them came to our office. I was out of the office. It was open, it was normal mail. It has the date received on there. I don't know if it was received properly or not because of the way it was done, but that's how it came, and it was in my chair this morning when I returned to work, so I'll hand that to Dana.
Those aren't to be read until the 20th, right?
Pardon?
The bids read on the 20th?
We didn't have it down for today, they're to be read at the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I'm on the
That's
same
fine.
page.
Okay,
Yeah, can you keep this with the other ones?
yeah, just put that one with them.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'll start with Lingle Road. There were 9,481 cars traveled Lingle Road in a 1-week period. Of course, we know the bridge is open, but we have had to make some repairs just to keep that road able to be traveled. So the Highway Department will be making a request to NDOT for reimbursement of our time, labor, and material.
How many cars was that again? Craig?
9,481 in 1 week.
What kind of costs are you estimating for repairs?
You know, in this situation, they're not horrible, other than I am going to request that the bridges be re-inspected. They were just inspected, but the traffic that was on them, I think we need to spend the money to have those 2 bridges re-inspected, so we'll have that in there, but probably under $20,000 other than whatever the bridge inspections cost, and Mark is here today, so, I mean, I'll make that request, but
We also had a lot of time invested in the highway department going out there and dealing with signs that were being thrown off into the edge of the road and relining the concrete blocks that we tried to slow traffic down with. So you might want to put a little bit of figure to that as well. I think it's important. Again, those bridges out there both are 9-ton limited bridges, and we had several semis go over those bridges. So the fact of getting those re-inspected is crucial. Pat, I see you got your hand up back there. It's normally not a public meeting, but since you live there, we'll let you speak this morning.
I just want to say that there were inspectors out looking at both bridges yesterday.
Okay. Well, Mark's sitting right there beside you from the company that's doing that.
Our
So.
group's in town doing some inspections, or in the county doing some inspections, and they're meeting with the highway professional.
Okay.
and they may just be there because we are starting our second phase, so they're
That's right.
probably there just that. It may not cost us anything extra.
We'll go along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to just remind commissioners, I've had some different requests from road grading. Right now, the paver is still moving, and when the paver moves, it's all hands on deck, guys, so just have to remember and be patient with us. We're running out of construction season, but it takes every man I've got when that paver's running. Tower Road Bridge, Bridge 14. The only thing at this point in time we're waiting on is the signage to lower the height limit to the six height limit. As soon as the signage comes in, we will reopen that bridge with the new weights. I have the signage for all the new weight limits and the height restrictions that were suggested from United Consulting. Those are on order. They have been on order now for 2 weeks. They told us the guideline would be 5 weeks to get those, but we do touch base with them every Friday to see if there's a way to shake that loose.
What was our height restriction on that again?
6'6".
That's what I thought you said, okay.
And it will be a 3-ton load limit.
And that's gonna include the height restricting
That is correct.
fixture.
Yes. Commissioners, you know, I've been before you in regard to Tower Road on multiple occasions this year because Bridge 14 is a huge worry for the highway department, emergency service, et cetera, in the area. This board instructed me to have our vendors, one CLR, the other E3 Bridge, take a look at that location of Bridge 15, which is the concrete bridge that would be just south of the big steel bridge. I have a main thoroughfare there, commissioners, and I guess my request would be, we've found an alternative with a slip line. Now that would still leave that as a narrow bridge, but we could improve that bridge up to an HL 93 load limit, which is the same thing they can do when they cross an interstate. It's expensive, but the road would not have to be closed. We could require, instead of closure, any contractor, if we slip line, to do any traffic control during the process. I believe that will come in somewhere, around $153,000, which is, again, a lot of money, but it keeps that bridge open for emergency services, and we're able to upgrade it because, again, you've got a bridge now that's gonna have a 3-ton load limit, and then I've got another one, I believe it's a 12-ton load limit on a main thoroughfare.
Those two bridges are what, an eighth mile apart? If that?
If that.
So we gotta do something with one end or the other of it.
And gentlemen, we know we can't even, with federal aid, as far as federal aid stretches out, we're looking at 5. Mark's here, United Consulting said 5. I've talked to other folks that have said it could be 7 years before we're able to build a bridge there over Mill Creek with federal money. So I would like the ability to go ahead and put this out for bid, because you know it is could be $153,000 project. The time of year it is, gentlemen, it would have to come from next year's budget. But
That was my question, you're talking about
there is
spinning out a
there
bridge.
is no money now, and I know there's a new set of commissioners coming in soon, but I've been here all summer long talking about this road, and I think it's imperative that we'll be able to move forward with improving this area.
Well, as long as it comes out of next year's bridge budget, we're gonna have to do something, we're gonna have 2 bridges closed and people trapped in the middle, and that's not gonna work. I'm all for this, if somebody wants to make a motion to let the highway superintendent proceed with bids for Bridge 15 as presented. If anybody would like to do that,
I'll make that motion.
Joel will make that motion based on my comments, if you got that, Beth? Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
I do have one other comment or question that we need to address. We had an administrative meeting out there 2 weeks ago, was that about right? 3 weeks ago after our commissioner meeting, I think, discussing the historical bridge with the federal grant and the 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's gonna be, and the estimate from 5 million to 7 million. We come up, met with the contractor with an alternative plan. We could build a bridge in-house for about 1.4, 1.5 million, what we've been told.
That's correct.
And looking at the parcels of property, the county already owns land on both sides of that historical bridge, so we wouldn't have to acquire any property. It doesn't appear to be to move forward with that. So I just wanted to bring that to the table here. That's something that's gonna have to be dealt with in 2025. And I think that that is the better option for the county and the taxpayers than it is to, we're gonna put that much in a matching grant with federal money. So we might as well do it.
And be 5, 7 years out.
Exactly, and this is something we could get done. Matter of fact, when we spoke to the contractor, it was something that they could do splitting years, part of 25, part of 26, would help budget restraints. So, again, I want to keep that on the table, and we'll move forward with that, but I do just want to bring it up that we have had that discussion, so we can fix both of those problems a lot easier, a lot faster, and for probably less cost than the federal match.
And Commissioners, I will say Bridge 15, what I bring before you now, by the time I'm able to put a Public Works bid together, it won't be presented till after the first of the year. It just allows me to move forward to put that together.
Yep.
The Chad, every year has put together the snow routes. He has that done, so each driver has a snow route now. Whenever it does snow, let's hope it doesn't, gentlemen, we save fuel, money, and salt, but we do need the moisture. We have started to dress the small fleet, and what I mean by that is just repair it. The heavy fleet we're still using every day, to pave with, so, that will come as we are able to. I'm still down one laborer, 2 operators, and a secretary, gentlemen. I received well, as of the last, I don't know in regard to this morning, but last week I'd only received 3 applications, some just because of driver's license we were unable to use. I spoke to Dana. Dana said that it was permissible to go ahead and advertise again, so we've advertised all positions for one more round to see if we get more applications.
Again, fellow commissioners, part of our problem is our pay scale. We're at $16 an hour for labor, $19 an hour for a CDL driver. Ridiculous. That's all I can say. We're not going to get help. We're not going to retain help for those kind of dollars. I know the sheriff department is requesting more funds for their deputies. We're losing more deputies. So it's an issue that's going to have to be continued to discuss if we plan on maintaining services for Owen County citizens.
Nextly, Commissioners, I've worked on a project out on Hayden Road, putting it together. There is 2/10 of a mile of roadway out there on a hill just after you leave the asphalt that has just been an absolute nightmare. we're starting the ditching and culvert work out there, just as quick as we're done with the paver, to improve that for the winter. I don't think I will have time, but I would ask for a approval to lay 2/10 of a mile on asphalt on that, one hill, if I can, before winter's end. And it is an issue, it's a school bus issue. It's been a school bus issue, just because of the way it holds water. I know the ditching will improve a lot, but it's such a grade, and it's a short grade, that the asphalt would help there.
If you guys remember, a couple of meetings ago, or last meeting, there was in your packet, there was some photos of this road. A gentleman put I can't remember the individual's name that lives out there that put this together. I talked to him on the phone a couple of times. I totally support this. It's something that needs to be addressed and dealt with. And I think that we need to move forward on this if we can get that squeezed in.
Where's funding coming from, this?
It'll just have to come out of budget.
It'll come out 1173.
Yeah, we're fine there. Right now, in regard to all the drainage is sitting on the lot. Gentlemen, as we take our yearly bids, then we order it the first of the year and try to get, our pipes and things in. We have millings on the lot right now, so the improvement with the millings and the pipes will allow us to continue the drainage work. We may not be able to deal with the asphalt section until spring, but if we can, I'm throwing it out there.
I think we should do it.
Make
I'll
a
make a
motion
motion
to approve the
to
pavement.
approve the 2/10 of a mile
Yes,
paving on Hayden Road.
correct.
Got a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye.
Nextly, gentlemen, we were contacted by Community Natural Gas. They are going to have to cut Freeman Road. Yes, a pretty sizable spot in Freeman Road. Almost 6 foot out into the roadway, I believe 10 to 14 feet in width. I'm here today to ask this board, I have no choice to permit it, but I'm asking this board that we require the contractor that put it down, require them to get that contractor to repair that road.
Yeah.
With a Benny and B paving.
I agree. And that is gonna be the expense of community gas or whatever
That
contract.
is not our expense,
Right.
but that's a brand new road.
And
And I think that
cannot
they
bore
should
under
have to, they should be the ones that repair it.
it. They cannot bore under it.
No.
Do I hear a motion to
Yeah,
approve
make a motion. If paving repairs it.
through community
Damages.
gas? Make that amendment that is through community gas.
See, that's what I said.
Okay, I didn't hear you, Bob. I'm
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
we will not be
Community
paying
gas.
for it.
I got a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
Then lastly, Commissioners, I'm
Just
gonna
for
ask,
clarification, you voted to require that they use E and B
Correct.
paving.
To repair
that too.
Freeman Road, yes.
Just want to make sure it's clear.
It was, yeah, a little fuzzy, but
How
and,
long will that road be down?
well, I'm meeting with them right after this meeting, so I'll be able to call y'all and let you know exactly, but I wanted
And when are they wanting to do this, Greg?
immediately.
so obviously we have an issue out there of some kind,
Yes.
major issue.
In regard to permitting, I spoke to Commissioner Burton briefly about this just because I wanted somebody with the commission to know. I've spoke to Dana in regard to a permit request on Beach Church Road. I do not feel as if though I could permit it. I've spoke with Dana, he does not feel like I can permit that either. It is for an underground bore, and it is in front of the Beach Church Cemetery. And gentlemen, those plots come right out to the road's edge. I referred them, pardon,
Who's wanting to bore?
Frontier.
Absolutely not.
So, just so everyone's aware, this is the first time I've ran into that. I referred them to DNR in regard to the cemetery, but I'm not sure that that was the proper thing. But speaking with Dana, I think they're just going to have to come up with some totally different alternative, because the cemetery is on both sides of that road, not nearly as far on the east side as the west, but those plots, gentlemen, come right up in that right of way.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go up and over.
Or around.
Or around, one of the two, yep.
I'm not sure how long they can bore. We discussed that maybe going at a diagonal under the road, so you stay under the road, coming out on the other side, and then
They'll have to come up with a plan and present it to you so we can take a look.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to give it to their engineers if it's going under the road that length.
Right.
That's just the first time I've ran into this situation, so what the board should be aware. Lastly, commissioners, I wanna jump back to, the 2025, community crossing. There was a small section that I asked you all about that I would like to attempt to place on the grant, and that is Pearl Street in Freedom. And it's that short section from the fire department to the 90-degree curve by the community center. The community center has dealt with problems with drainage there, and I don't think it's going to solve all the problems, because the community center is, for lack of a better term, sits in a hole. But we may be able to help that problem a little bit if we pave that and pitch the road the opposite direction of the center. So I would like to ask that I be able to place that very short section of road on community crossing.
I absolutely have no problem with that at all. We're talking 100 yards, 50 yards, it's not very far.
Yeah, it's not much of anything, but I'll tell you, the way the road needs pitched, gentlemen, no more than we pave. I think it's a job that needs to go to somebody that paves all the time.
Yeah, that surely would fit into our total of $2 million hopefully
Yes.
in our project.
Well, they got Freedom Road there, so that's not that far away.
No, it's just right across the road.
Across the street, yeah.
You wanna make that motion, Bob, or?
I make that motion, we go ahead Pearl Street,
Yes.
Freedom,
But it's not the,
add it to the community crossings.
it's not the entire street, it's just the section from the fire department to that 90-degree curve.
Basically at the top of the hill.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Bob, second by Joel. All in favor? Aye.
And for action, Chad, on the fire department, it's actually from Freedom Arnie Road to Spring Street. Thank you, Chad.
We'll make sure we get that in the grant request.
Lastly, gentlemen, I spoke to Dana about this, and I'm gonna go ahead and, it's in regard to a road closure up off of State Road 243. It's a request by Miss Brandy Wright. It came through the mapping department and then to me. There's some certain things that Miss Wright needs to do in order to get this small section of road closed, but basically she owns the entire property in the area, and she's requested that be done, so I'll just turn this over to you, Dana. The paver is on, I'm gonna jump into something later, reading, gentlemen. The paver is on Front Street in Quincy today. It'll move to Tower Road tomorrow or the following, and then to Pottersville. And then we have a short section on White Springs on the hill. All are day jobs or less, but that is its schedule. If there's any way, we will pave tomorrow, but tomorrow may be a move day.
We'll take the rain.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I was involved in this a little bit. This lady actually owns this parcel that shows up on our road inventory and has for some time, and it's been on our inventory for some time. I don't even know if we've been maintaining it or not, have we? Over the, nobody really needs to, or seems to know.
Well, it's in pretty good shape, to be honest with you. It goes to a couple of duplexes and, a driveway.
Right.
We have put stone on it once since 2019, but it really doesn't take much to maintain, but I think she has a legitimate request.
We basically just need to evacuate the,
Yeah.
however we need to do it.
She has to file a petition, and it would come to the commissioners, and there'd be a public hearing, which could be at a regular meeting, on that, and then the commissioners could vote to, an ordinance to vacate that portion of land.
And it's very minute, it was a 0.5 of a mile or something like that. So has somebody contacted her to let her know what her,
I do not know, but I will contact her.
okay, if you can do that, we can
I
move.
have her information.
And we can get all the information from mapping department.
Right.
269 feet.
It's almost to the county line at the very tip top.
Yes, it was 269 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, to her, see, it's not very much at all. And again, she owns it. We've had this situation before where we were maintaining roads that somebody owned, and they ended up giving it to the county, so we could, this is kind of a reverse of that.
Well, Commissioners, I will be working just in closing, I know, on putting the community crossing for 2025 together, the numbers. I should have those complete for you by the next meeting. The next thing that needs to be on everybody's radar, and I will go ahead and put it together, and I know there's a new board coming, but Rocky Hill Road needs to be addressed, must be addressed from Keeler Road to US 231, where the truck traffic, and I have no problem saying, I believe the truck traffic from the water system where they're hauling the water out is the problem with that road, but it needs to be, there's so much work that needs to be done there, Commissioners, that as I put the plan together for 25, that's gotta have to be approved in December. We need to start on that road because it's going to be at least a 2-year process before we could lay surface. But we can make great strides and improvement if we get started on it, but we need to start with the drainage. It needs to be ground, it needs rebuilt. But that's a long stretch of road and it's gonna be costly. So I believe at least a 2-year process, but maybe even 3 before it's ever ready for surface. But we need to get started. So I've been working on that and I will float that plan.
Are you planning on doing that in-house, Greg, or are you talking about farming some of it out?
No,
or-
we will do all the drainage work in-house. We'll do the full depth restoration in-house. I don't think the thing to do this coming year is to rent the big grinder, but we have the small grinder, so I think we use it and do sections at a time as we improve the drainage.
We can talk to the gentleman out there that owns that. He was willing to throw some money at some of these projects created by their company, so get with him and see what we come up
We've
with.
just never put a solid plan together, so I need to do that to see if we can receive money from them and how that would be done.
Something we'll put on the things to do list for sure. Okay, elected officials, department heads, we have anything this morning? Nothing. Beth, you have any comments? Sheila, request anything?
The extension contract, have you had a chance to
Yes.
look at that?
Yes, the Purdue Extension contract, there was some issues with it, and I sent it back. They made all the changes I requested and sent me that, so I told them that I was okay. They were gonna have their people look at it one more time and then sign it and send it to us.
Okay, so we should see that at the next meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, I seen it in the email, so,
Yeah.
okay. Dana, you've got some policies and some ordinances.
Yes, as has been mentioned in several of the last meetings, there's issues in the county where projectiles from shooting ranges have been landing in other people's properties, been going off their sites. They're basically the only existing law that could do anything about it would be criminal trespass. Because it doesn't have to be in person that you trespass property criminally. If you're told not to do it, not to enter property, and then you enter or you cause something to enter that property, that's criminal trespass. So I talked to the prosecutor. The prosecutor said that that would be difficult to prove because they'd have to go after the individual who actually shot it, and how are you going to know who did that? How are you going to be able to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt? Because that's the requirement for a criminal case. So there was no other law in place that would allow the county to do anything about that. So one way that we can do that now would be to adopt an ordinance that regulates shooting ranges and that has teeth in it to make sure that projectiles don't leave their facility. And instead of the individual shooting being responsible, which under this they will be, but it also causes the shooting range to be responsible. It's adding a new code section. I'll read the ordinance first and then bear with me as I go through the new code section. So this would be ordinance number 2024, I believe it's 11. Is that correct? I think she used last one.
I thought it was 21. I looked at the last ordinance that we did.
Last ordinance or resolution?
The ordinance resolution was 13.
Okay. Pause here. The last ordinance from, oh, that is from, yeah, I don't get all the ordinances.
It's 20, isn't it? So it is.
Is it 20?
Should be 21.
Okay.
20, okay. We'll go with 20. So ordinance number
21.
2024-021. This would be an ordinance adopting Owen County Code, Chapter 115, shooting ranges. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen desire to keep the citizens and visitors safe and secure from dangerous projectiles leaving the confines of a shooting range. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen find that shooting ranges under certain circumstances can be a serious and substantial concern and/or create public nuisances. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen find this ordinance would promote the health, safety, comfort, and general welfare of the citizens of Owen County. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen have determined that adopting Owen County Code 115 shooting ranges as attached hereto is in the best interest of Owen County and its residents. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen the following. Section 1, adoption of Owen County Code Chapter 115 shooting ranges. Owen County Code Chapter 115 shooting ranges as attached hereto is hereby adopted for Owen County. Section 2, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon adoption and publication as required. And I will say for publication, it will have to appear 2 weeks before it can be effective, because it does prescribe penalties. Passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of Owen County, State of Indiana, in a regular meeting held on the 6th day of November, 2024. So Chapter 115, shooting ranges. 115.01, shooting range defined as per Indiana Code 14-22-31.5-3. Shooting range means an area designated and operated for the use of archery, rifles, shotguns, pistols, muskets, or similar firearms that are fired at silhouettes, skeet, trap, paper, stillboard, or other similar targets. .02 regulation of shooting ranges. The following regulations shall apply to all shooting ranges within the unincorporated areas of the county. A, no potentially dangerous projectile, including but not limited to an arrow, a bullet, or shotgun slug, shall leave the property upon which the shooting range is located. B, the shooting range shall be used only between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. C, it is prohibited to discharge a firearm within 300 feet of any residence. D, it is prohibited to discharge a firearm within 300 feet of any occupied structure. Of course, if the structure is for the purpose of shooting, that wouldn't apply. And F, all projectiles shall be released parallel to the range surface. Exceptions, 03 exceptions. This chapter does not apply to A, the discharge of weapons in defense of one's life or property, or to kill a dangerous or destructive animal. B, the discharge of weapons during hunting activities. C, the discharge of weapons by any duly authorized peace officer or law enforcement official acting in the proper performance of his or her duties. D, as the discharge of weapons during a managed hunt to control the deer population under the supervision of the federal, state, or local law enforcement or game management officials. Or E, the discharge of blank cartridges in theatrical performances or sporting events or at military funerals or affairs, subject to other federal, state, and local laws and regulations. The penalty would be A, any, so that would be .04 on penalty. A, any person violating any of the provisions of this chapter shall be charged with an ordinance violation, a Class C infraction, and shall be fined $50 for the first violation, $100 for the second violation, and $200 for each violation thereafter. Every day any such violation shall occur, and for each projectile that leaves the shooting range property shall constitute a separate offense. A shooting range which, in violation of section 115.02A, and that is the projectiles leaving the property. So if they are in violation of that, so that they have any projectiles that leave the shooting range property, they shall discontinue operations of the shooting range until they can provide adequate assurance to the Owen County Commissioners that measures have been put in place to stop such projectiles from leaving the shooting range property. Such a shooting range must discontinue its operation as soon as they become aware of the projectile leaving the shooting range property. C, the shooting range owner and operator who continues operations in violation of 115.04B shall be charged with an ordinance violation, a Class C infraction, and shall be fined $2,000 for the first violation, $5,000 for the second violation, and $10,000 for each violation thereafter. Every day any such violation shall occur, and for each projectile that leaves the shooting range property from the time the shooting range owner or operator becomes aware of the violation shall constitute a separate offense. So 05, joint and several liability. In addition to any person who violates any of the provisions of this chapter, the shooting range owner and shooting range operator shall be jointly and severally liable for any penalty resulting from the violation. And in 115.06, civil actions for enforcement of this chapter. The county attorney may bring a civil action to enforce this chapter in Owen Circuit Court. The county is not liable for the cost of such an action. Such costs are to be paid by the violator. And then point 7, injunctions. A court acting under 115.06 of this chapter may grant mandatory or prohibitory injunction against any person and the owner and/or operator of the shooting range that will cause this chapter to be complied with. Person as used herein means an individual, an association, a business entity, or similar entity.
Thank you, Dan.
Is it me or did none of the numbers match up?
Who
I'm
was?
just asking, as he was reading them,
Yeah, he changed them as he went through.
okay, so our copy doesn't reflect.
Yeah, I made the edits on
Yeah.
this one with
I
the
just-
numbers.
I wanted to make sure.
I added a section and didn't change.
Yeah, numbers off on sections. Is this more in line of what we were thinking, gentlemen, to fix this problem?
Oh, most certainly, I believe so.
Yep.
I agree.
We had to do something, and this is the way to do it.
Well, there was a lot of speculation that this could have been done, that should have been done, until it's done properly, and it has teeth in it, and I think we're there now. We have the resident adjacent to the problem here with us today. I'm gonna ask you, are you content with what we've put together here?
Yes.
Okay. With that being said, do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-021?
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2024-21.
Got a motion by Bob, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I will, this will be published, again, it has to be published twice because of the penalties of 1 week apart. And I'll also try to get a list of any and all shooting ranges in Owen counties and send it directly to them with a letter so that they are all aware that this exists.
And once those edits are made on those numbers, we can sign that at the next meeting.
Yeah, well, you can sign the ordinance, and I
Okay.
changed them here in pink, but I can, okay, in ink. So yeah, the ordinance will be signed, and
Okay.
everything is
I got it right here.
And then we'll send
ready.
a copy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you a clean copy, so
Okay.
it'll be easier to publish.
Yeah, I marked this one up.
Okay, we have a couple of policy changes.
Yes. Policy, Owen County Personnel Policy 507 overtime, due to issues with the payroll system, certain departments were given the option of their employees determining whether they wanted comp time or wanted to go ahead and be paid.
Can I stop you for just a second?
Sure.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to bring everybody's attention. I spoke with Nicole and Lisa about this week before last, and this new payroll system or time management system is causing us some difficulties. It was giving people the option if you want overtime or you want comp time. So the departments that have overtime fund lines in them, I called each and every one of them, and our thought process was, we'll exhaust overtime first before comp time is available. Everyone agreed to that. So that's the purpose of this policy, to make that transition down there in the payroll department easier for those gals, because otherwise the department head was going to have to call in there or email in there saying, okay, this individual wants comp time today, this guy wants overtime. What a mess. So we just simplified it, and we're going to pay overtime out as is budgeted for, and then comp time will roll over. Now, it will be up to that department to make sure that they know when their overtime line is empty, that they say, okay, now we're on comp time. Go ahead.
Yeah, and actually, that's exactly the wording that was changed. So this would just require, again, as you said, the overtime, and this doesn't change the fact that overtime has to be authorized in advance by the elected official or department head, and the funds have to be available. But yes, it just does require, as you say, overtime fund lines to be exhausted prior to comp time.
Do I hear a motion to approve policy 507, overtime?
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Joel, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
I know we spoke about this, gentlemen.
Well, it's important to note that you spoke with department heads and they were all in agreement.
Absolutely,
That's the
everyone.
important- That's the important thing to know here.
Okay, the next personnel policy would be 509, bereavement leave. And this was edited in two ways. One, the previous one said that if it was more than 150 miles, that a couple additional days could be approved for bereavement, but it would have to be paid out of their comp time built up or vacation or whatever. Well, 150 miles from here, well, and then there was another one said 3 days if it's out of state. Well, 150 miles reaches Kentucky, Illinois, and Ohio from here. So that just didn't make any sense. And so taking that out, because it also had in there, which to me covers it, that additional leave may be granted by the elected official in charge of the employee's department or the commissioner liaison appointing to the department, with additional leave charged against the employee's accrued compensatory time off, vacation leave, sick leave, or personal leave. So that, to me, covers it if they're going to go out of state or 150 miles. It just depends on the circumstances. Another part about bereavement leave is that the leave days must be taken in conjunction with the date of death or for the decedent's funeral, memorial, celebration of life, or like arrangements. However, the bereavement day leaves must be taken within 3 months of the date of death. What has happened since COVID especially is that there's a lot of times where there's not a funeral right away. You know, usually the traditional, somebody passes away and 2, 3, 4 days later there would be a funeral. But that's not happening as much anymore. There are a lot of times where there'll be a celebration of life a month later, or something like that. So this would allow the person to take those days as bereavement days that coincide with the actual services. So let's see, the other addition was that regular part-time employees can take bereavement leave. However, it would be charged to their accrued time off of any category that they may have time off for if available. So they're not paid bereavement days, but they are allowed to tend the services and such. And the other addition is that there was up to 5 days for an employee's spouse, domestic partner, which would have been their domestic partner, that was added. Child, stepchild, parent, step-parent, or sibling may be taken for bereavement leave. And so domestic partner was added to that paragraph. And then the next was added that up to 5 days for an employee's miscarriage or stillbirth may be taken for a bereavement leave. I can speak from experience. My daughter died during birth. She was perfectly fine. There was a complication, and that was extremely traumatic. And so, so personally, I think it's important. But this was not my idea. It was brought to me. So.
Nicole had brought this up. We had a situation here with an employee that had this very same issue, and felt that it was important that we take care of this.
And that's all the changes.
Any questions or concerns with bereavement time?
Yeah, the last sentence on this, bereavement leave will normally be granted unless there is otherwise business needs or staffing requirements. That should be stricken.
Okay. That was in the
In
original.
no circumstances does business or staffing needs have to do it, you know, someone needs to go, they need to go. I believe that should be stricken from that
Okay.
document.
Yeah, like I said, that was in the original, and it,
Yeah, this wasn't, this was in our old policy, so I agree with you, Joel.
Because I don't want any, don't know why it would happen, but someone lean on that a little bit, keep someone here for no particular reason. So I believe that needs to be stricken from that document.
Would you like to make a motion to approve with the amendment of removing the last sentence of the policy?
I will make a motion to approve with the amendment of removing the last sentence of this document.
Got a
I'll
motion?
second that.
Motion by Joel, second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
okay, that's all I got for today.
Okay, and for the commissioners, we have a legal contract up, contract expires at the end of this year, and we cannot go into a new business year with no county counsel, and I mean that by a county attorney. I know we have new people coming on, but we cannot start a new year without legal counsel for reorganization. So with that being said, it is a two-year agreement, same as it's been for the last several years. Pay rate's the same for 2025. There is a 2026 5% increase, which would be discussed at budget hearings. But other than that, the agreement's the same as it was when we signed this, when Dana was brought on. So with that being said, do I hear a motion to approve the legal contract?
I make a motion, we approve the legal contract for our county attorney, Dana.
I want to, before we vote, and I spoke to Gary about this, as a true statement was made that the new board has to have attorney on hand the first day. I think that I don't feel that it's my responsibility to determine who's going to be counsel in the future. But having said that, there has to be counsel at the first of the year. There has to be. So that's all I've got to say about it. I'll second it.
Got a motion by Bob, second by Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, commissioner comments. Any other comments, gentlemen?
I abstained from that vote, by the way.
Do we have a copy of the contract?
I got one right here. So, any other comments? No other comments? Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we make sure you guys sign in if you didn't, since the sign-up sheet wasn't there early?
And I'll get with Beth and make sure all these contracts are signed and we match up.
You're signing all of these. Your signature.
Yeah, she's got the originals, I think.
We did make a motion for you to sign those.
Yes.
I asked about those little machines, Gary, because I didn't want that to become a problem after the fact.
Right. A lot of those little ones we already own.
Well, that, we need to have